everyone. Welcome to Rainbow Soul Astrology Forecast. We are so glad you're here, and we're grateful you're tuning in this week. We are grateful you're here with us. Thank you so much for tuning in every week. We so appreciate that. Don't forget to subscribe and like if this is your first time, and comment. Let us know how your week's going. Let us know what's going on for you, and make sure you catch us on Monday nights around 8 p.m. live here, wherever you're seeing this, YouTube, um, Facebook. We'll be live there. And I'm hoping that also you will come and study astrology with us at Mystics Academy. Mystics Academy is a great platform on Patreon where not only do you get videos instructing you on how to read your own astrology chart, and you also get to attend monthly monthly classes with me, with learning classes where you can ask questions directly live in Zoom. And we also have a readings party at the end of the month, and I hope you get to attend that. So you also save money on readings with us, and you can and it doesn't there's memberships as low as $11. Okay, so make sure you check out our Mystics Academy Patreon, and it's a great way to support us. It's a great way to get plugged in and get your reading with us. Also on Monday nights we do free mini readings to help you bring you up to speed to what's going on. And you can book with me or Brighthawk at psychicinsights.life, and I hope you'll take the time to do that because an in-depth reading is much better than you'll ever get free online, because we can take the time to just focus on you for an entire hour. So, before we jump into this week's broadcast and this week's astrology, let's take a minute to have a little meditation. Take a deep breath. And imagine yourself walking along a path. Just relax into this. And all you can really focus on are your feet, one step at a time. Nice steady walk. And as you're walking alone, you become aware that there is a horse walking beside you, directly at your side. And as you take a better look at this horse, you recognize that this is half horse, half human. Chiron, the wounded healer, with a scar on his back, healing. You can see that it's mostly healed. And he walks just beside you. As he walks beside you, you feel safe, grounded. reminding you of your worth, of your value in a stable, consistent way. And at some point, he stops walking with you. And as he turns around, you turn around with him, reviewing what helped you feel stable, walking back over the path that felt good, felt connected. And in front of you, you see the flames of Aries. The path is lined with flames. And Chiron looks to you and says, "Who are you?" No, I mean, who are you really? And while you contemplate this, you walk together with Chiron. Revisiting not only who you are, but what drives you, what pushes you, what leads you. And as you stop to contemplate, to think about these, you stop. And Chiron keeps walking directly into the flames. As Chiron disappears into the flames, you return to the here and now, to this moment, to this body, to this place. And as you arrive in the here and now, you come back to Rainbow Soul. Come back to your body, wiggle your toes, stretch your fingers and your hands, and allow yourself to be here, to be now. Welcome to Rainbow Soul. Hello. Thank you, Bright Hawk. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for doing this with us. Thanks for taking the time to listen to Rainbow Soul. Thank you, Great Hawk, for playing beautiful music and taking us on a little journey. Um, um, so this week, obviously, Chiron's going retrograde. I think Bright Hawk, it goes retrograde like today, Monday, right? Am I right? I think that's what you said. um, so, of course, this is our week of astrology starting today, Monday, August 3rd. So, invite you to mark down the important days. Um,
Chiron goes
like,
direct today
mm-hmm.
until January 26th. Frequently, and in a lot of our charts, you will see Chiron retrograde. It spends a lot of its time moving retrograde. If you recall, it's been direct and it's been moving. It moved into Taurus, and now it goes retrograde until, I guess I wrote that backwards. Chiron direct until January 26th. I think I meant retrograde until January 26th.
Yeah,
So it's
okay.
gone into Taurus and it's going back into Aries, which is why we saw the flames of Aries.
Mm-hmm.
And
this would be its last visit in Aries for a little while. So I think that's really important. But it does sort of kick off, kicks off our
retrograde. I wrote it wrong.
Our month of August, really, and considering that Saturn just went retrograde too, and Chiron's, you know, it's just, I think that it sets a tone for the whole month, especially with the Chiron and Saturn being sort of longer transits. It sets an energy, you know. So Chiron goes retrograde until January, so that's a long time, and I think Saturn's also retrograde for quite some time here. Would you put till December? So, and then we also have Uranus retrograde. And that happens in September. So I just feel like we have a lot of planets retrograde, especially with Neptune and Pluto as well. Okay. And I think with the nodes also doing a transit this month, August is going to be an intense month. I'm just going to say, friends, make sure you mark down those the nodes and the nodes have already moved, but I meant the eclipses, which I think are pretty important. Okay. All right. So as we move on to today, Monday, you know, we still have Jupiter and the Sun together in Leo, but now the South Node is with them. Mercury will soon join it, but not yet. And I feel like the Sun and Leo very much speak to who are you? Who are you becoming? Who do you want to be? How are you seen by others? There might be a concern for that. And with the South Node in Leo, it can also be about the history of that and your history with who you are and how you present. And then with the moon in Aries today and Saturn retrograde in Aries, along with Neptune at 4 degrees still at Aries. So Neptune is still in a trine to Jupiter. The Sun has moved off of it, but now Neptune's there. And Neptune is still in a sextile to Pluto. And Uranus is still in that sextile. And Uranus will turn around and go retrograde, and they'll hold that minor trine down there with Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So that will be going on, I think, pretty much for the rest of the year, right, Brandon? Because Uranus is going to go backwards. I haven't looked, but I think it's pretty much the end of the year, I'm imagining. So, because it's
I
not
haven't
gonna
looked either, but it's been going on all month. It's definitely been part of the intensity and, if you want to call it, the
Barbo's
party, the
basket.
conversation that's been going on with Barbo's basket and with um, the way that sort of feels like 2026 got kicked off in a big way with Saturn and Neptune. Now they're going backwards. They're going to stay in Aries in the during this retrograde, but you still have significant fire energy, and you don't have to look hard in the headlines to find a lot of news about fires in Europe and France and in Germany, and fires in Canada and fires in the northwest of the United States. There's a lot of fire energy with Leo playing a big part with Sun, Jupiter, and the South Node. The only one that doesn't have a big part in the fire energy right now is Sagittarius, because Leo and Aries are doing it all. So at least they're all in a trine. They're in trine energy tends to be a bringing together in a good way, versus squares and oppositions, which will challenge each other. And so we still have that Venus square Mars, which we've had for a while, and that's continuing. It's separating, so it's not as intense as it was, but we've talked about that a lot last week. And last week's full moon was, by most astrologers' count, one of the stronger full moons we're going to have all year. And of
Right.
course, it's the full moon that precedes us going into eclipse season. So when we talk about the eclipses, some people talk about how they can reverberate depending on if you have placements there for a month before, a month after. Some people say 6 months, and 6 months before and 6 months after. These energies are very big. They affect all of us. And so we start to say, whoa, okay, what's coming up? And, hopefully you had a good full moon. And now that the sun is shedding, the moon is shedding on its way to a new moon, which is what a solar eclipse is. The energy is a chance to, what do we need to let go of? What needs to be shed? What needs to be reevaluated and course corrected, or things of that nature?
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much what Chiron is kind of saying too, because that's what retrogrades are pretty much anyway. So, and we have a lot of things retrograde. We have Neptune retrograde, we have Pluto retrograde, we have Saturn retrograde. Chiron joins the retrograde party, and in September, Uranus will, and then I think Venus does as well at some point here. So all of these planets going retrograde. Retrograde generally means review. It means to go over or revisit, and I think that that's interesting, in that the Barbo's basket will to some degree be revisited in a retrograde pattern. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
that in itself is interesting, that the same planets that were involved in the Barbo's basket will be revisited, in the same pattern. So as we're looking at this, Monday, to be frank, is an okay day. It looks like there's not a lot of squares. The 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 moon being in Aries could create a little bit of nervous energy, but it's in a trine to the sun in Leo, so most of us should walk right through that, if we stay confident in ourselves and stay confident in what we're doing. And with the only, I think the one thing that I noticed there is that Mars is in a square to Venus, and that was going on all last week. So there still might be some tension going on with relationships that I mentioned. Um, so that's and I think that that's kind of Mars in a square to Venus is. I think it's going to end here pretty soon. So, but in the meantime, it can create a little bit discourse with relationships. Okay. So that's Monday. Monday's not particularly hard day, I would not say. Um, and Tuesday is actually the day that Chiron goes retrograde. So when Chiron goes retrograde, I'm not sure you're going to feel it unless it happens to be on something in your chart. So that would be like 0 degrees Taurus. But the bigger um, vision of this is that Chiron is headed back to Aries. So if you have anything in late degrees Aries, it's going to be transited by Chiron. So this means that Chiron is going to walk back and it's going to make sure you take a look at who you are and what you're doing and what this means and la la la. Okay, so these are some parts of this that are very important. Chiron's a very important planet in transit, in my opinion, because it has a lot to do with our bigger healing, our bigger wounding, and it will address some parts of us that are. mm, that are wounded from something, and we all have our wounds, we've all been through things for a variety of reasons. We've all had all sorts of challenges in our life, and I think with the moon um, approaching Chiron, the moon is also at the bottom of a yod that's pointing to Venus. And considering that Chiron is in Taurus and Venus is its ruler, that would speak to a little bit of destiny in relation to things like money, investments. It may also speak to what feels good, what does what feels stable, what feels strong, what feels consistent. That's Taurus, right? It could also have to do with some food. So if you find yourself craving some delicious food, well, just give yourself a break and have the thing, okay? Um, so it may have you reviewing things like food or other luxury things or things that taste good, feel good for you. And Chiron will be headed back to Aries soon enough. The yod pointing at Venus won't be happening anymore. But what will happen, I believe, is Chiron will move into its place and possibly create a yod at some point, maybe. I'm not sure how fast Chiron's going to move. So, okay. And Bright Hawk, it looks like there's a void of course moon Tuesday.
Yeah, um, pretty much from the late afternoon, mid afternoon, 2:50 p.m. into the evening at 10:35 p.m., where the moon moves out of fire sign and into an earth sign. It moves out of Aries into Taurus. And if you're joining us for the first time, I didn't name it. It's called Void of Course. And the void of course means the space between, the void between. So the moon moves every couple days, and when it's in that in between space, we call that the void of course. And what that means is that it's when the moon is at its lowest energy, so it might be less dramatic. It might be something you notice, especially if you're, say, a Cancer moon. The moon rules your chart. Make sure you have a moon app, and there's a lot of moon apps available. You can have it on your phone and you can go, oh, that's what's going on. We're going from fire to earth. Oh, okay. And it'll hopefully help you understand the ebb and flow of the moon. Because, of course, the moon affects all of us. We're 70% water and it affects the tides just like it affects us. So that's why I put it in the chart. I love to hear from folks and hear what your experience is of the void. Um, it changes a lot, and I notice it more with certain elements more than other elements. Sometimes you barely notice it at all. Some people take time out when it's a void moon. It's a great time for self care. And so that's why we talk about it.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Bright Hawk. And it looks like Tuesday. Other than Chiron going retrograde, I'm not sure you're going to overly feel that unless you have something directly at 0 degrees Taurus. But if you don't have a point there or a planet there, you probably wouldn't notice. But eventually you will start noticing that you might start just sort of asking yourself, who am I and what feels good and what helps me feel stable? What helps me feel strong and things like that. And what is comforting to me and what feels good, especially with it in Taurus. Once it gets back to Aries, we'll ask other questions like, who am I, how do I define myself, and what is my drive. Those kinds of things all relate to Aries. Okay. All right, so as
And
we go
Venus
forth.
Venus
Go
starts
ahead.
to play a bigger role in this yod. Each day it's going to get stronger. And a yod is also known as a finger of God. It's fated energy, Fatid. And what it means is that an inconjunct is 150 degrees. It's also known as um, there's a variety of other names. Right now I'm spacing on it, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. I've already messed up one thing. So Venus in Virgo is inconjunct, so it's two inconjuncts, and then the base of that triangle is a sextile. So in this case, the sextile is between the north node right here and Chiron. And so the conversation about our healing, and it's conjunct the moon, so it just gets all of this conversation gets amplified with with Venus, and Venus, of course, is going to be asking, what do you value? Venus rules money and luxury, and what do you value, and relationships and feminine energy and things of that nature. So Venus rules Libra and Taurus. So the Venus vibe, if you have if you have Libra or Taurus, that conversation with Venus is your ruler. Um, if you're have those signs in your rising, and so that conversation gets amplified for several days.
You might also ask who you are in relationship with,
Right, right,
because
because of
Venus
this.
and relationships. It
Mm-hmm.
might also depend on where Taurus is for you. Pay attention to where Taurus is, where Aries is in your chart, and also where is Virgo. And what meaning does that have for you? The North Node in Aquarius just got there, and Venus is about to leave um,
Mm-hmm.
Virgo here
Mm-hmm.
soon. So, all
Mm-hmm.
right. Um, Here we are with the even stronger
Mm-hmm.
conjunction with that yod. You can see the green lines pointing up there at Venus at 29 degrees Virgo. And we also have Mars still continuing that journey there in Gemini at 28 degrees. And I think that's a lot of fast communication. You might just want to be careful what is said very quickly or what rushing or pushing might be done. Mars usually has a lot to do with pushing and speaking, and a kind of an intensity, especially in Gemini. Um, and then the North Node in Aquarius is still there. And, the North Node in Aquarius is about who we all are together. So it's asking us who we are as a collective and how we can move better in community. So how can we be in community better? And that's really, that's really important, because because Pluto is in Aquarius right now, and also we have Chiron. I'm sorry, not Chiron. Uranus, is in a trine to Pluto right now, so that's the ruler of Aquarius, and Chiron and Uranus is kind of asking or pushing Pluto to destroy what doesn't feel good for us, but also that's our path to get rid of what doesn't feel good for us anymore. So we've been on this path for a while, but this path has probably gotten stronger for us finding ways to transform and change. I think a lot of us feel like we're in flux right now, like we're in a process of changing now. Maybe you've shifted some things in your life, or some things have shifted in your life. Either way, you've probably made some sort of changes in the last couple of weeks. And so sometimes it takes a little while to get used to those changes, right? And
And we
Venus
have a
also has a lot to do with like self love.
correct, not to be forgotten.
Right.
Right? Especially with the North Node, you know? What you love about yourself is and the what you want to be doing. The North Node speaks to our future, our destiny, our path in life. And then we have, of course, the moon is shedding. It's going to be entering its last phase as it goes towards its renew. And it is going to be void as it leaves Taurus and enters Gemini, leaves Earth, goes into air. So we go from grounded Earth to air is thinking and how we think about things. And so it'll be a void moon from 7:30 p.m. till 2 a.m. on the 7th.
Right.
And this is when we see Venus move into Libra.
Which
We
I
still
actually
see
think
that
will be
yod.
better energy. I think that will be better energy.
Venus in
You
the
know?
rulership. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Venus in its rulership. I think we've been experiencing some discourse around relationships with Venus and Mars in that square all this time. And now they're going to start, now they're at least both in air signs. And so they can at least hear each other. Maybe they can even find healing with each other, especially since Chiron is asking for that, to find healing. And then also, as well, we have Venus in Libra, which is its rulership. It's at 0 degrees. So it will also be in a trine to Pluto, which is at 4 degrees Aquarius. It will
Aquarius.
also be in a trine to Uranus in Gemini, and although it is opposite Neptune. So we might need to revisit our vision about what we think it looks like, or what we think a relationship looks like. We might need, especially because Neptune it's in Aries. It's asking Neptune in Aries is not exactly comfortable, and it's usually spiritual, it's usually visionary, and it's about seeing the world for what it is, and seeing what's on fire. And then when it's retrograde, it's about reviewing what part of that is maybe you, what part of that drives you, how is that part of who you are. But if it's opposite Venus, there could be some push and pull in that, while Venus is opposite that. But I think because it's part of that yod, it's destined to be this way, to present with some review. But I think since it's in a trine also to Uranus, it's mostly done with that square to Mars. It's in a trine to Uranus and Pluto. I think that's going to create a level of like it's a little bit better, right? Well, it's in a trine to Uranus because they're both in air signs, and so it's actually creating a grand trine in air. So I really think that the grand trine in air with all three of those, Venus, Pluto, and Uranus, is actually kind of a great thing. I think this will help us think through things, use our logic, use our intellect to help us think through problems, to resolve problems, and to be able to vision ourselves in the right direction. So I think that's a really powerful grand trine there, and especially since both Uranus and Pluto are part of the Barbeau's basket. Now they're in a sextile to Neptune, so hopefully they'll help us see maybe our illusions or our delusions about relationships that maybe are not um, are not part of the path. Maybe we have some ideas that don't belong there or something else. So it's also meant to be that. So also consider that. Okay. So consider if you've been struggling with any kind of relationship things, I would say consider if your idea of that relationship is maybe not aligned. Revisit your ideas and ideals about that. Okay. Um, and this same Grand Trine with Venus will be going on at least probably for the rest of the week. And with the opposite uh, Neptune, it's gonna help us visit the relationship, help us discover um, what parts are delusional and maybe what needs to be revisited. Okay. And I
And then
think
we
Venus in
fit.
Libra is way more comfortable about relationship
Right.
than Neptune in Aries. It's like Neptune in Aries is like delusional. It could be wrong idea about things. Venus is way more comfortable up there. So I think you'll be moving in the
Sure.
right direction.
Yeah. And Sunday, the Grand Trine gets even stronger because uh, you have Venus now at 2, you have Pluto now at 3, and you have Uranus at 5. So, or 6 even. No, 5. So the Grand Trine in air, that's all about thinking it through, relationships, values, Pluto, transformation, Uranus, revolutionary change. Surprise a minute, and what are we going to do about it, right? We have the moon in a void course, going from Gemini back to its home in Cancer, so water, from air to water, and saying hello to Mars in the process. So the void will be from 1:30 in the morning to 3:45.
Okay.
And this, of course, I did this it's all Eastern time. We now live outside of Albany, New York. We are in the Adirondacks, actually closer to Saratoga Springs, but I did Albany because it's the state of New York and it's not far from us. And the charts this week, cast them with the angel number 222. So, the house systems are completely determined by the time, and that's when we read for your personal charts, that's always why we want to know your birth time, because it sets up what's the rising sign and what the houses are accordingly. So in case you're wondering how we get these charts, that's part of how we do it. And I move the angel number around a little bit just because I'm having fun. And so the end of the week, we see, that big, strong Grand Trine in air. What are you thinking about? How are you thinking? And yes, our thoughts definitely influence how we feel and what we do.
Yes, absolutely. And with Venus and Libra, I really feel it's going to dominate the chart. So Venus is going to quickly bring hopefully some self love, some love for relationships, and just some togetherness and some connection, hopefully. And like I said, just let go of any preconceptions or ideas or visions or anything like that you have about any relationships you've been challenged with. It's a good time to let that go.
The other thing I would point out is that Mercury now moves into Leo, so now we have a stellium in Leo with the South Node, the Sun, Jupiter, and now Mercury.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things that tends to happen with Leo is that there's Leo the lion, is what I think of. I think of the noble leader, but I also think about how Leo can also come off as sometimes arrogant, sometimes a know it all, or needs to be right. Leos have a strong need for be right, and that's, so being mindful of that, especially in your communications, because Mercury rules communication. So if you get a little stubborn about things, be, do I need to fight for this, or do I need to let this go? And what is the right thing here to do? So, yeah, that's the week, folks. And now, Hollis, do you want to go ahead and give us the tarot reading for the week?
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's come out here for a second, and friends, just recognize that these are intense times. 2026 is one of the most intense years ever, um, possibly ever, which is interesting. So let's just keep our feet about us and keep moving forward. And remember, we are in a time of change right now. So I want to point out um, this is the Love is Love deck. So you can take a look here. This deck is by LGBT. L, each card is done by a different LGBTQ artist. And it says Love is Love, and it's themed with LGBTQ um, themes. And this is in the past. This is about spilled emotions. This is about hurt feelings. And it's a Five of Cups, right? And this is sometimes focusing on the spilled feelings and not focusing on what's good, not being into what feels good. Okay. And so as a result, this can kind of, we forget what's good and we're only focused on what's spilled, right? And so the problem with that is that we have lack of seeing the good parts. Okay. And although what has spilled is significant, there's also still this intact. So, this is a card to remind us that while some things may have spilled, there are also some good parts to our situation. And for the here and now, remember the warrior. Now, this is the Knight of Swords, and this is about delivering messages and being a warrior. Sometimes being a warrior can be very black and white, and that's why this is black and white, right? And this has a lot to do with us sort of pointing out that there can be to parts to a warrior that are very black and white, but if you notice, there's like this little bit of color there, so you can kind of see his little bit of rainbow. Um, and that's really about that every warrior is unique and that we can't really make any assumptions about this warrior, but also we may need to listen to their message directly, and that there could be, and with swords, it's usually a message delivered. It's an actual message, not just the intention, but the actual message um, delivered, and that in itself brings forth movement. Okay. Now, also, um, this is the Judgment card, and this will be in the future, and this is about angelic realms and people being judged. And sometimes judgment is necessary to create some discernment for us in day to day life. But sometimes this is also about people seeing what is real, um, people recognizing what has been done, and a judgment, not always bad, being passed in a way that we can see what has been offered or what has been given or what has been done for someone. And that's really what this is about, because you can see there's like a child in the middle. There's a person playing music. There's two women on either side of the child. And this is very much about this is very much about us coming into some sort of judgment. So remember, while we might be focused on what has spilled and that's making us down or whatever, or bringing us down, try not to focus on that. Try to also recognize what is good and what has worked out in the past or what has gone right. And as you're going forward, try to listen to the messages that are being delivered to you. Try to hear the messages fully and completely so that you can maybe not be so black and white, but also to recognize maybe what actions need to be taken to change, and also that there will be a judgment passed at some point. And this is a usually a good judgment card. It's not a bad judgment. It's usually a good judgment. It's usually like a reflection and seeing what has been given, what has been gifted, what has been in service to others. And this is a decent card. So this is about being seen, recognized, or acknowledged. Okay. Hold on a second, Bright Hog. There we go. Now we can hear you.
It never ceases to amaze me how the tarot will reinforce the messages of the weekly deck. And when I see those cards, I think of Venus. I think of Venus going into
Right.
Libra and the scales and the balance. I think of Mercury going into Leo and how there can sometimes be judgment. So, wow, very, very interesting. And bottom line is, I hope you have a great week. I hope you feel good about yourself. I hope you join us on Monday evenings live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're happy to take a look at your astrology deck, your astrology chart, and what this means exactly for you. We love learning with you and sharing with you. And I hope you have a great week. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soul Astrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. Have a great week. Thanks so much for spending time with us this week. We hope you're feeling more connected to the cosmic energies and ready to work with them in your daily life. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps us reach more people who could use some cosmic guidance. And don't forget to share this episode with anyone who might need to hear it. We love hearing from you, so drop a comment, let us know what resonated most or what you would like covered next week. Your questions and feedback make our show better. Want to join us live? Subscribe! And catch us on Facebook and YouTube, where you can ask questions in real time and be part of our cosmic community as it happens. Until next week, trust your intuition, follow your inner wisdom, and remember, the stars are always supporting your journey. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soul Astrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.